Welcome to Vinkoll, Meningen med vinet, and welcome Erica Crawford.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, welcome to Sweden. You came all the way from New Zealand, but I know you are in a sunny Stockholm today.
Yes, it's really beautiful outside. It's quite warm. I certainly didn't pack for weather like this.
I understand, but it's a good thing that
Oh,
it's nice
beautiful.
weather. So lovely to have you in Sweden, and I'm very happy to have you on Vinkoll today because we're going to talk about one of your wines that are on sales in Sweden for the moment. On the in English, it's called a temporary assortment or tillfälligt sortiment, as we say in Swedish.
Correct. I saw that yesterday.
So you visited the stores and saw your wine.
I saw the wine. I'll send you a picture. I was very thrilled because it's the first Loveblock wine to go on to the tender. Yeah.
Congratulations!
Yeah, I'm very pleased.
And for those who don't know you, you came all the way from New Zealand.
That's right. I came. It takes about all up from the time you leave home to get here, probably about 30 hours, but I'm here now, and it really is one of the most beautiful cities, and I've enjoyed. I get up early in the morning and go for walks, and then, of course, wander through places looking for food and looking at the shops. Um,
Understand, you come to the right place. And the wine we're going to talk about, so just for everyone to know, it's called
mhm.
Loveblock, it's the Sauvignon Blanc, and the 2022 vintage is the one that's available in Sweden.
Correct.
But before we talk about the wine, tell us about Marlborough and New Zealand, because we think of Sauvignon Blanc when we hear Marlborough.
Yeah, that's quite right, and I think that is, of course, what Marlborough is best known for, what New Zealand's best known for, and I've been in the industry a long time. We started making wine as youngsters in 1996. We made the Kim Crawford brand, so that was us, and then we sold that. And now we are organic farmers, so we own all the vineyards, we farm organically, and we make the wine ourselves. So I guess it's an evolution of style of Sauvignon Blanc that we're starting to look at, as the industry matures and as the vines are getting older, the wine it gets to be quite different and more mature and more complex.
Yes. And you are both the owner or the founder and the winemaker of this wine.
Yeah, so this is wholly owned by my partner and I, Kim, and I'm actually a viticulturist. So I retrained as an adult after we sold Kim Crawford. I went back to university and retrained as a viticulturist. So and then of course we make the wine and bring it here to Sweden. Yes, so we do everything from the soil to the bottle.
That's great, and I think the name Loveblock, it's a great name, and it's easy to remember.
Easy to remember, and just by way of background, so in Australia, New Zealand, we tend to refer to vineyards as blocks because they literally are mostly in a rectangular or a square shape.
Hmm.
So vineyards are called, you've heard people speaking about the woolshed block or block A or, ridge block or row block or whatever. So, and when we bought this incredibly rugged piece of land, we had to do some contouring and quite a bit of development. And I kept on asking the tradies, the people who were doing the work, how's that bloody Loveblock going? Because I kept on putting a lot of money into that affair, and they started talking about it, and it stuck. And so it was a real organic thing. Literally, I didn't pay an agency to think it up.
That's cool. No, it's a great name. And do you? We're going to talk about the Sauvignon Blanc and the vinification here,
Yes,
but do you make
yes.
more different grapes, right?
We do. On the estate, we also grow Gewürztraminer, Riesling, Pinot Gris, Chenin Blanc, Moscato, Chardonnay, and Syrah, and of course, then Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Mm.
And the Sauvignon Blanc that's on sale now. What can you tell us about? Maybe first the soil. It is Loveblock, and the vinification.
So the vineyard that this wine comes from is a single vineyard. It's been in organic since 2008. It was certified in 2012. So we've seen the changes that soil management has done to the wine as well. It comes from the lower Dashwood area in Marlborough. So there are two valleys in Marlborough that, the rock stars are in what we call the Wairau Valley. And then you go to Awateri Valley, which we're some of the oldest grape growers there. It's colder there, it's windier. So our crops are lower, and you tend to get a bit more intensity in the wines there. From that little spot where we are, we see quite a good handprint of peach on the wines. This one is quite different in that no sulfite has been added to this.
Okay, so not at all.
Yeah, and how we got to that point was, with organic winemaking, you have to keep your sulfur, your free sulfur, your total sulfur below a specific number. And we noticed, that the flavors that the wine tends to be softer. The aromatics tend to be held back a little more, but much more complexity and texture on the palate. So the next question was, so what happens if we don't add any sulfites at all? Well, we know that there's a very large chance that the wine will spoil and oxidize. It goes off.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can, no responsible winemaker can afford that, because somebody's still got to pay the rent, right? And pay the mortgage on those vineyards. So at the same time, we became aware of a product that it's been on the market for probably about 14 years. It's made by an Italian enological supplier called Vasson Enologica, and it's tannin extracted from the leaves of green tea. Now, we use tannin in the winery for various reasons. I mean, obviously, fermentation and aging are particularly for red wine, but we also use it to, for instance, to clarify must. So if you look at the molecular structure of this tannin extracted from green tea, it very much mimics one of the flavonoids that's in wine, but its antioxidant capability is so high. And if you follow the chemistry, we figured that it should protect the wine from oxidation throughout the winemaking process. So every time the wine is exposed to oxygen, in other words, once it's picked, once it goes from the press to the settling tanks and to the fermentation vessels and moved in the winery, it gets a bit of this tannin.
That's interesting. I mean, are you the first or the only one doing this, or is this common?
With the green tea, yes, the green tea tannin. We know that the South Africans are also looking at rooibos tea tannin extracted, but I think their challenge is coloration, because obviously you use the woody part of the plant there.
Yeah.
We actually have done trials looking at all those tannins, and our choice is to go with the tannin extracted from green tea. And the wine is quite different, It's not Sauvignon Blanc as you know it. And as I'm sitting here tasting it now, it's more flavors on the aroma, on the nose of mandarin and cloves, and of course there's a little bit of basil and herbs, because it is Sauvignon Blanc, isn't it?
And you probably don't know, but Sauvignon Blanc is one of my favorite grapes, just the way you describe it. Aromatic, it's fresh, it brings a lot of flavor on the nose, and it's great to combine with food. And in the Swedish website, it says that, just like you said, basil, but there's still some sort of, what do you call it, characteristics for Sauvignon Blanc. So you will recognize this as a Sauvignon Blanc, right?
Especially on the palate, but it's, and then what we see, I think we see two things. We see the absence of sulfites.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it really grabs flavor and hangs onto it. So wine with sulfites added tends to be sharper as it hangs onto the fruit. And then this wine is softer on the palate and quite juicy. So it does make a difference. How do I know that? Because we've actually done the quantity, the proper trial in the research winery. So someone else did it for us, where we used grapes from the same vineyard. They get treated exactly the same. The only difference is the control has no addition of either tannin or sulfites. Then you look at sulfite, and then you look at the tea tannin. So hopefully next year I'll come back and we can do a proper masterclass, and we can taste how it actually differs under control.
It would be lovely to do, as you say, when you compare. That's
Yeah.
compare next to each other. That's how you can sort of
And
spot
then
it.
you really see what makes a difference.
Yeah.
Mm.
And speaking about pairing, because it also it says, or I imagine that this is quite a few good pairings, both on the sort of cheese side, but also on meat. I guess both chicken and I think you said Vietnamese before, which is a style. I don't know, but it goes well with the more not spicy necessarily, but more aromatic food, or I don't know how to say that in English. Suddenly, I lost my English. What do you
I
say
mean,
when food is quite tastes a lot?
I don't know that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll dream about this one.
but with this wine with no sulfur added, is because we add tannin, you definitely get a tiny little grip of it there, you know, and it's perfect with fried foods, so fried chicken or fish and chips, anything like that. And then, of course, I've been eating quite a bit of salmon since I arrived, and seafood, and it works really, really well with it. So we also, of course, make Sauvignon Blanc where we do add some sulfites, and that is more traditional. So that has quite a wide range of applications. But this one's really interesting, and this one is in the shops in the Bolagate,
Yeah,
and
Supreme
so
Beloved.
yeah, try it out.
Definitely, and it's a temporary assortment, so there's just a limited number of bottles. I checked today; it's available in about 40 shops, and through online you can order and pick up at any shop you like. And it's at 177 Swedish kroners, and the article number is 93146 if you want to order it. I should definitely try this, and I think, like you said, with the fried chicken, I think just like you described, that sort of I'm in.
Yeah, and fish and chips or anything really. I think it's really interesting, this one. I really would encourage people to try it out because it's different to Sauvignon Blanc that you're used to from New Zealand that you see in the shops here in Sweden. It's very different. Yeah.
Good. I'm really happy that you joined us and shared the story, and hopefully more people will discover Loveblock and Sauvignon Blanc, and also the other wines. I'm not sure how many are available in Sweden, but I know there's
Yes,
a few of your
yeah.
wines.
Yeah, there's also a Pinot Noir that's available on the Bestellen, I think is the word.
Yeah, ordering assortment. Yeah.
Yes. So that's also available. And then, of course, the Arco wines, they bring in Pinot Gris as well.
So 3 wines to try. That's
Yeah.
looking forward to it. Enjoy Sweden. Nice to have you here. Next time you're here, like you said, let's meet up, have a masterclass, and try the different
Yes.
wines together. That would be lovely.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and enjoy your stay.
Thank you,
Take good
Markus.
care.
Okay.
Bye bye.